You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today. But before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. A huge shout out to Governor Anatobi for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. Our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them. Do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by Hope is Alive. Hope is Alive exists to radically change the lives of drug addicts, alcoholics, and those who love them. Join us on August 11th at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum for a celebration of hope featuring guest speaker Tim Tebow and musical artist Ben Fuller. Find out more and get your tickets at HIA10.com. This podcast is brought to you by the Oklahoma Beef Council. On behalf of Oklahoma's beef farmers and ranchers, we want to remind you that beef can be part of a heart-healthy diet. To find heart-healthy beef recipes, go to oklabeef.org/recipes. Linked below. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn, your host, back with another episode. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Derek Loccident to the podcast. Derek is a para athlete and is fresh off a silver medal at the World Champs in Paris. Mate, congratulations.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, and see you. Obviously, we're for people listening, we're doing this one over Zoom because you're in San Diego right now, where the training camp is. Seems like you've been pretty busy with that, and since the start of the year, training for the World Champs and the season that you have in front of you. And Paris, obviously, to put Team USA jersey on is pretty epic thing to do, right?
Like this is stuff you see as a kid, like with the Gatlins, the Usain Bolts with Jamaica, like that's like those are dream like levels that you dream about like doing, like that you just do, that you're wanting to do, and now like as it come into fruition for me. As a para athlete, it's definitely awesome, bro. Because 4 years ago when I first ran my first race, at a Denver Games in Edmond, like I just felt the impact that I could have when I'd finished running my 100-meter race, and I had a few amputee kids wanted to see me and meet me in person, and that really like sparked the idea of running track in my head when I first put on my blade and ran my first race. So yeah, it's definitely, and now like living through this and coming back from Paris, like that's absolutely different. And that atmosphere over there, the love that they have for their athletes and just the sport in general, is definitely cool, Merle. And that whole environment was just awesome to be in and experience for a first timer. At my first Worlds. So yeah, that was definitely cool. It was definitely cool to experience all that in the last few months.
Yeah, going to Paris is great, but going to Paris on a full, on a paid trip basically to do something that you love doing and to compete and to represent the country, it's a pretty epic thing to do, especially as your first time. Like, I mean, talk me through it. How are you feeling? What's the flight over there like? There are a lot of you guys going. Like, tell me about it.
So yeah, so like National came around. They hosted Nationals here at Chula Vista, the training center, and basically the world team was going to be a lot smaller than the team that they took to Tokyo before. So it was basically cut in half, where they were going to take they're taking 45 people instead of like 70. So making a team was extremely hard this year for Worlds, but I was able to do it at nationals and get in for long jump, and then also being able to run the 100 meters at Worlds. That was definitely cool. Not too much, not the race that I wanted to run, but I mean, just the experience itself was definitely great to be a part of. But yeah, it was definitely hard. Definitely hard. A lot of dedication and time in the lab that had to set aside for myself to be able to make this team because of the short amount of time I had to do it. We've been training for the past 5 months, in the ground running as soon as I came here in January, and we haven't looked back since. I have a great coaching staff with Coach Matt, Coach Cruz, Gustavo, strength and condition coach, great teammates. It's just a good environment to be in, to be able to make those goals possible on making the team and medaling. So it definitely helped being out here in Chula Vista, boosting my chances of making the world team for summer.
Yeah, environment's everything, right? Especially when you got everyone there, you know, like you said, you got all your coaches centered around you. You're not worrying about doing they're looking after you and taking care of you every single time. So exactly. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything's just walking distance, the track, you want to go to track is like right down there. Weight rooms, I have access to the weight room, and sports meds, they have a great trainer squad that helps with recovery. Also, another plus that, it's just little stuff like that. I mean, it's not little things, but those are things that you tend to take for granted, especially with my background in football like that. It's really like there's so many players on the football team that trainers have to take care of. It's very, hard, but these trainers here, set aside time to work with their athletes and really put in the work on trying to figure out how to, better our bodies for the next, competition that comes up. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned football there. Tell me a little bit about kind of the dream growing up as a kid, wanting to play football, being in football. I guess that's kind of where the dream starts into being an athlete. Being an athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I started playing football, I want to say when I was 9 or 10. It was Little League football. And I remember first week of practice, we, going in Little League, it's really, never been playing football. It's like, it's different. And, the first drill that I remember that really opened my eyes and what the game of football holds and what it takes was the Oklahoma drill. And if you're from Oklahoma, about the Oklahoma drill and what that man maker of a drill, brings out of you especially as a kid. And wanting to try to play football, but my love for football grew and more and more as I continued to play each year, and was able to play in junior high, played in high school, and was able to get a scholarship to the University of Central Oklahoma to play at the collegiate level and earn a scholarship. And so yeah, football is always been the main goal, and trying to get to the next level. And even after my accident, that was a goal. Still, I was knocked off track, but I was still, after I got back on my feet and started, running and, starting to gain my confidence back. I, started practicing, and then, it got to a point where I was getting looked at by NFL scouts were coming to practices and, sitting inside and talking to me, and, probably my brought back that fire that I had before my accident on making it to the next level. So, yeah, football, I think football will always be a part of my life. Whether, later down the road going into coaching or or whatever. But yeah, I love the game of football.
Yeah, it's something that you just, you don't need anything, or you just need a ball of some sort, or even a pillow. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. You can still just play around in the house. And,
exactly,
it's like, soccer for me, real football or rugby, whatever it is. Like, it's so simple, right? It's just a ball or something that resembles a ball, and then you make your own field and just get after it. And, it takes you back to being a kid.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So you went to UCO. Talk to me a little bit about family. You got a really close family, big family, small family?
I would say small family. So my family really is people that we've come across in with our time in Oklahoma. So not, but they're fans of the things that we've gone through, just as people, just growing together and that's all thanks to my mom, because she moved us, me and my sister, as a single parent. She moved us from Florida to try to start a better life for us, and trying to get us away from things that was drawing attention away from us, and so she made that decision to move from Florida to Oklahoma and start a new life. And along the way she met people from either work, church, that grew, that at times like helped by babysitting me and my sister, or bringing groceries to the house when needed. Like over time, like that stuff built, and eventually bonded together and became family. So I have a lot of aunts that aren't like my blood aunt, but that's like I've known them as an aunt figure, and knowing that I could be able to go to them, talk to them, or just have simple conversations, or they'll always call and check up on me and send me texts or anything like that. So yeah, we have a small tight group, but it's definitely like that's family. Like I can't paint it any other way as that. So, but my family's like, my family means a lot to me, and because I come from a little, and hear my mom's story. She comes from really the hardest place of coming up from. Growing up in Haiti and moving to the U.S. as a teenager, and having to pick up on things quickly to adapt to new surroundings and stuff. And as she shares her story of how she grew up and how she made her way for us, and reminded me of stories of how she did things with us. It really opens my eyes and made me think of things differently. Of what the definition of family is, and that's not family doesn't have to be blood or any of that. It's just people that you can count on and depend on, or people that are wanting good from you and want to see good out of you, and want to sacrifice just for you to do good. And so that's definitely stuff that I learned along the way from my mom. And my mom's my role model. She's definitely someone that I look up to, even though at times she was kind of tough on us, and but that was another role where she picked up on as playing both roles of the mother and the father figure. So she definitely did a great job with me and my sister, raising us as a single parent, and providing for us. And so yeah.
Yeah, mums are the best. They're just, we don't realize it probably as when we're growing up, we just kind of go run around, go out, play football with our friends or whatever it is, and come home and eat and whatever. But, we don't get to see a lot of it. But when you look back, you realize that, oh, wow, like they do so much. And again, extremely grateful for every mother out there, my mother-in-law, my mum, it's just great, and it's great for you to have that bond and have your mother be your role model, and and have that close-knit, tight community that you can always rely on, right? I'm sure through times of difficulty or times of good, like you kind of, the first person you think of probably is your mum, because you draw strength from that. And that's there's a lot of power in that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the accident. I've seen the movie, the Thunder movie, the Michael, shout out to our mutual friend Michael, who kind of helped with that and puts you in the position that you're in. But talk to me a little bit about that.
Accident was in September, I want to say beginning of September of 2018. I ended up going out with some friends after a Saturday night game that we had, a home game in Edmond. We went out and I had a few drinks, but was aware of my surroundings and was aware of what was going on. And as the night starts to wind down, I'm reminded I don't have a phone at this time. I ended up breaking my phone a week before, so I went the whole week of my accident. I went the whole week without a phone, and so the night winds down. I end up going to the bathroom. I walk back out and I lose track of my friends as the nightclub's closing down. And I walk out and, trying to see anybody that I recognize, and don't see anybody. End up walking up the road and I start trying to see if I can get a call and make a phone call. I see a gas station like a couple ways away, and between me and the gas station is a train. So I'm like, all right, I might as well go to the gas station, make a call to my mom, and see if she could pick me up. Instead of going in front of the train, I was able to see the front of the train, but it was kind of ways away. I just decided to cut in between the train where it connects the cargoes. And as I'm trying to get from in between them, the train ends up starting on me, and I try to hop from in between it, and I trip on the rails of the train track rails, and end up hitting my head on the gravel, and I black out. Like I'm basically knocked out, and I wake up, and it's like quiet and silent, and I didn't really. I think I was out for quite a bit, but I don't think it was that long. The train was long gone, and I try to get up, and I feel like a little tingling on my end of my leg, and I lift my leg up, and my foot's gone, and I'm like, oh gosh. And I lay my head back there, and I'm like, dang. And now it's all these thoughts are going through my head, I just got done playing in a football game, and now I'm laying on the side of the track with my foot gone, and I'm just thinking about my mom, coaches, everything. And I was honestly planning on just laying there and dying, just bleeding out, and just not even making an attempt to find help. And after probably 2 minutes, I was no, I can't just lay here. And it just didn't feel like I'm just in my mind, my mindset just switched quickly and realized that I just can just lay there. So I hop back to that main road that I came from, and try to wave a few cars down. 2 or 3 cars come pass by. I'm screaming for help, 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 and no one stops. I'm looking, it's I'm starting to get cold now. So I hop down the road that I came from, probably not too far, but and then I see a light post, and I just lay my back up against the light post, and this is I'm starting to get woozy, I'm starting to lose a lot of blood. I'm basically about to go back out, and I'm lucky enough, a car stops, and it's a lady, and she calls 911. Right as I'm about to go out, ambulance come, and they get me on a stretcher, rush me to the hospital. And the first people that I see when I wake up in the hospital, as they're taking my clothes off and everything, was my mom and my aunt. And I was like, dang. And I saw her, and I looked at her, and she tears in her eyes, and I'm like, damn. And the first words I say was that I was sorry. And just, I don't know, that was just the first thing that probably I'm sorry. Because I knew when I was thinking back at the track, when I was laying there, I was thinking how foolish am I? All the stuff that, she did. I was basically scared to come back to her as coming back to her as with the missing foot and whatnot. But just thinking about all the stuff that she did, sacrifices that she made for me and my sister, all the stuff, just, all that, and me earning a scholarship to help, with her and the funding for her, and sending that money towards my sister for her scholarship. Like, and now, like, basically I felt like I was just all a waste, like, at that moment. So, like, that was like the reason for why I said I was sorry. And then she calmed me down, and her and my aunt was talking to me, and they calmed me down. And so I was basically in the hospital for about 2 months. I went through 8 surgeries in my time being there. Dealt with the infection in my leg. It was a long period of time where I felt like I was never going to get out of the hospital. But I ended up getting out after 2 months, and ended up going back home, where I was rooming with 3 other roommates. And I basically was just like, it was a confusing time because I was sophomore in college. It was just tough, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I ended up starting home therapy, just little light stuff to get me back, just to gain my strength back. And ended up going after that. Just once I gaining my strength back, starting to walk around on crunches. I ended up going to Mercy Hospital to do physical therapy. I was probably doing it 3 times a week, I would say. As the year closed down, I was just thinking, and I get a visit from one of my position coaches, and at first he just talked to me, just catching up, seeing how I was doing, and he showed me a video of this amputee girl that did gymnastics, and after seeing that video, I was just amazed because of it was a younger girl, being able to do something athletic with a missing limb. Like that was like new to me because I didn't really know much about the Paralympics or just the life of an amputee. Like I just didn't know. I didn't really I didn't do any research. I was just really depressed and out of it. But after seeing that video, that opened my eyes tremendously. It gave me a lot of hope that I would be able to, at least, get back on my feet and, do something with myself. And then, so I got my first prosthetic in January and started walking around. But I was still, a little shaky, and my confidence was still shot. Wasn't really going to class just because of just how I wasn't comfortable with who I was at the time. But what helped me out quickly with all that was regrouping with the team and being able to work out with the team. That really helped me a lot because they didn't look at me like as the amputee there. They looked at me as one of the guys that's on the team that's just also just trying to make their way and do work towards something that's bigger than themselves. And that really helped me out, and being able to joke around and have a good time with my teammates was definitely peacemaking to me when I needed it. So that whole semester of 2019, beginning of 2019, the spring, I was just working out. Summer rolls around, I ended up starting to pick up on running, how to run, and doing training on my own, but also staying on top of my physical therapy. And I get back on the field the fall of 2019. I'm not able to play, but I'm on the practice squad and just scout team, just giving good looks. But I took that time, even though I was just practicing, I took that time to prepare myself for the next year, 2020, because I knew I was going to eventually get back on the field and play football again. I took that time to practice game speed, everything was game speed and practice. I took every day as if it was a game myself. So that really helped me out going into 2020. And then as the spring of 2020 starts to wind down, COVID hit. And that crushed me because I was like, it was like last month. It was like the last, because we're about to go into summer break. And it was like around that time where, finals is coming and school's ending. And I'm like, all right, now I just got the summer and then hit the ground running in the fall for the season. And COVID hit, and I left everything up in the air because it's like no one knew when anything was going to go back to normal. Like, it was just like everybody was stuck in the house, and I was like, man, I can't even go to the field. Like, they shut the school down. Like, didn't have access to the field, and I was just like, damn. So during that time, I really just like did drills, like, and workouts at home, like in the backyard, just on my own, as I was also working at Amazon delivering packages. And that was crazy itself too, because the whole system was just like, they just throw you in a van and you have a truck full of packages delivered, which was cool because I was a big loner, and so I didn't have to worry about working with others, or they just sent me on the road with deliver packages. So I thought that was really cool period of time when I was working at Amazon. And then so I did that for the whole summer and fall working at Amazon. We're able to go back to practice, but the season was basically canceled for 2020. So fast forward to 2021, and I was able to get back on the field the fall 2021, played the season, but there was a lot of issues with coaches that I feel like, didn't play out in my favor or how I thought it should have. I ended up earning a starting position at I got moved to linebacker at the beginning of 2021 and earned the starting position at linebacker. And guys, coach, bringing in some guys from recruiting and from JUCOs, and they end up playing over me, and it was just it is what it is, and really cut a lot of my playing time that I thought I fought for during a time of preparation. But there was a lot of learning. There was more learning from all that than my desires of playing and showcasing my talents. It was a great process because I had the opportunity to show other kids like Elijah. Elijah was a kid that I met at my first track meet, and he ended up starting playing football himself as a single amputee, and his is from birth. But seeing him live out his dreams, playing little league football, also baseball, and like doing all these sports like that really made me happy and made me open my mind on like realizing that even though I was upset that I didn't earn the playing time or then wasn't given the playing time that I thought I deserved, it opened my eyes to see like that what I'm doing is bigger than me and myself. I'm basically making a path a way for showing others that it is possible to do stuff that like this as an amputee or someone with a disability. So what was that? 2021, 2022 comes around, and then so I'm now starting to build up and get back into track, and I end up getting a call from Coach Cruz, which is a coach here at Chula Vista, and he ends up giving me a lot of details of the whole para world and what track and field like holds for Paralympic athletes. And that was like at a time he called at a great time, because that was at a time where I didn't really know what I was like, how to get into Paralympics. That no one really sat down and talked to me and gave me a blueprint. It was just something I was like, maybe I just go to a track meet and somebody will see me or something, And so he called at a great time, beginning of 2022, and told me and broke everything down for me. And basically that whole year I was training track. I ran at 4 track meets that year, the whole year, but was also finishing up school and working. And so I ended up graduating in December and got invited to join the development program here at Chula Vista. Mm-hmm. And that was also great to have play out in my favor. and being able to train full time here in Chula Vista, San Diego, like it really does, like coming from Oklahoma, to seeing mountains every day and like beautiful weather and being able to train full time, it is insane. And I never would have thought of like the year 2022, beginning of 2022, that this would be my life. But, God has a special way of, restoring things that, that you earned, but just on his timing, and I'm just happy to be able to, live out my life and, be able to do something, a sport that I'm continue to grow a love for. I didn't really love track when I first came here. I'm not, it was just something that they told me, and, I thought would be something cool to do and be a part of. But now it's like just coming from our first worlds and coming out as a silver medalist, with only 6 months of training, that you just don't make that up. So that's definitely helped me with my love for track and what I have to offer in the world of track, and what's to come. So definitely excited for next year's games in Paris again, and being able to hopefully come out with the gold medal. And honestly, like, this Worlds was crazy because with my main event being long jump, I'm going to get up against some of the best long jumpers, and let alone the best long jumper in the world within Marcus Rim in Germany. Like, he's set the bar so high for amputee jumpers, long jumpers, and he's being able to meet him and see him jump live was just something special. But it opens my eyes to see what I have to work on and what I could possibly be like, or better. Hopefully, when next year comes around, and be able to put up a good match against him and others. So yeah, it's definitely I'm growing a lot of love for track and field as time goes along.
Yeah, you've got the bug, right? Like, you've got the, it's like when someone, in my world, like when someone hits their first golf shot and they're like, okay, now I got to chase this for the rest of my life.
Exactly, because it's like, dang, boy, okay, what if I could do this a little bit better than that?
Right.
It's like, so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What you said you graduated in December. What was your degree in?
Criminal justice.
Okay.
For law enforcement.
Okay, so that's like kind of like maybe the plan down the road is to get into law enforcement.
So it was when I first went to college, but it changed after like my accident. Like, sure. So it's like, maybe something outside of law enforcement. I think I'll probably use my degree in that. But I want to get into public speaking, doing speaking engagements, but also hopefully maybe becoming a coach, and and try to get back in that side of things. So I don't know yet. I'm still a day-to-day guy.
That's all right. Talking to coaches, tell me about your relationship with Coach Mac.
Oh, Coach Mac. Yeah. Big Daddy, Coach Mac. He is a character. I met him at a developmental camp in 2022 in October. And, being able to work with him, he's very knowledgeable and gifted in that side of having a good eye for track, and a good eye for his athletes, and what things that we need to work on. Me being a prime example, like I'm glad I'm a prime example of his work, and what he's done, what he's invested in me within the last 5 months of training. Like, we've done a lot of stuff. And he set aside like a lot of time to, plan out things that, could help me within long jump in my 100-meter races, while also coaching others. He coaches online and also foreign athletes. So I guess he has his plate full as it is, but he's good at balancing all of that. and making all of us better at the same time. So definitely, I think a lot of thanks goes to Coach Mack, and time and effort that he put in towards me and helping me get to Worlds and helping me win a silver medal out there.
Yeah.
That's definitely special.
Yeah, I want to go back to a little bit about just kind of like you're talking about being around kids, right? And it kind of puts it into perspective, and obviously this is just bigger than you realize then that it's bigger than yourself, right? Everything that happens for a reason, and there's two ways to look at things, and obviously it's not ideal what happened, but at the same time you've made the best of what happened, right? You have the stars and stripes on your chest. You're traveling around the world as a professional athlete. How do you go about kind of spreading the word, telling your story, and doing more of that, just to make sure that you get the word out and show people that no matter what struggles they're going through, you've pretty much gone through the worst case of things that could happen, right? You look back at those dark moments, and how do you get through that? How do you relate that to people?
Honestly, it's like you said, like that connection I have with younger kids is being a kid yourself and having that kid mindset. Honestly, being always open to learn new things. I mean, as a kid, you always like question stuff and always wonder why are things like this, and always wondering little things, but also enjoying the time that you're in, and enjoying little things in itself. And I feel like I've done that's helped me a lot, like in my journey back to football and back onto the track. Is having a child mindset and being patient and enjoying the moment in time that I'm in, and that's something I didn't used to do at first, and before my accident, I was just fast paced and like always, was distracted by and putting my time and energy towards things that didn't need doing, but I'm able to say that because I've like lived it and learned from it, and now, being in the position I'm in now, it's like, it's definitely cool. And I'm being more of a kid every day, like, just wanting to learn more about long jump and the details of it in itself, and learning about other disabilities, and learning about other people's stories. Like it's been great, but I would say just keeping that child mindset and having and enjoying the process. That's also a big one, is enjoying the process and knowing that there's going to be hard days that come along. Like that's just life in itself, but it depends on your mindset, on how you receive that those moments, and like if you're willing enough to flip it and make something good of it, and becoming strong from it. So yeah, I would probably say yeah, just having that child mindset and enjoying the process.
Yeah, well, sick, man. I want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. For people listening, I'll put the link to the Steps movie that's out, that was in partnership with Oklahoma City Thunder, and also link to your Instagram as well, man. And look forward to seeing you. Wish you all the best for the rest of the year, and look forward to connecting when you come back to Oklahoma City.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it, man.
All right, dude. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, man.
All right, brother. I'll see you.
Bye.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them.
do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffees really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffeeford.net, and then on Instagram at diffeefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by Hope is Alive. Hope is Alive exists to radically change the lives of drug addicts, alcoholics, and those who love them. Join us on August 11th at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum for a celebration of hope featuring guest speaker Tim Tebow and musical artist Ben Fuller. Find out more and get your tickets at HIA10.com. This podcast is brought to you by the Oklahoma Beef Council. On behalf of Oklahoma's beef farmers and ranchers, we want to remind you that beef can be part of a heart-healthy diet. To find heart-healthy beef recipes, go to oklabeef.org/recipes. Link below.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.